Young Turks, new sponsor, Squarespace. Go. On to Democrats. Now, in a lot of the whether it was the blog I did or the videos that we've done, there's been comments, there's been emails to me, other conservatives weighing in saying, hey, wait a minute, you're not being fair because you're not covering all the terrible things that the Democrats have done with violent imagery, violent results, etc. Okay, because we showed you the conservative violent imagery results. Well, so I did research. In fact, I went to all the links that they told me to go to. I went to Michelle Malkin's website. I went to another conservative website, etc. Now, there were some good points in there, and let me share them with you. First of all, the DLC and DCCC. DLC is not an official group, but they're the Democratic Leadership Council. Clinton came from that. DCCC is for the House Democrats. Had maps with targets on them, kind of like bullseyes, not gun sights, but kind of like you would see in an archery thing. And they say, look, they had targets, Sarah Palin had targets, and I think that's an interesting and decent point, okay? And that's, and I didn't know that in the past, and I still did not heavily emphasize Sarah Palin's map, right? But nonetheless, okay, good point, right? And you got to be fair, you got to be open-minded, you got to look at all this stuff and see, hey, look, or do the Democrats do just as much as the Republicans? Are the guys who say that on TV right? So then you look at some things that were said by Democrats that were really problematic and some things that they did that were problematic. For example, we have Representative Paul Konjarsky. He's now a former congressman, and he had said some tough language about millionaires, billionaires, but nothing that was anywhere over the line. But when referring to Rick Scott, who is now the governor of Florida and at the time was running for the governor of Florida, Konjarsky said, that Scott down there that's running for governor of Florida, instead of running for governor of Florida, they ought to have him and shoot him. Put him against the wall and shoot him. He stole billions of dollars from the United States government, and he's running for the governor of Florida. He's a millionaire and a billionaire. He's no hero. He's a damn crook. And it's just we don't prosecute big crooks. Now, on to whether Rick Scott's a crook or not, that's a very fair point. His company, not himself, but his company was fined an untold millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars for a scam that they ran. The fact that he got rich off that scam, to me, I agree with Konjarsky, that's no hero. That's not like a self-made man. He ran a scam, he made money, and then he paid a gigantic fine for it. He should have paid a much larger fine. Saying that he should be shot is 1,000,000% unacceptable. Hell no. No, and as I read that quote, I couldn't believe he said that. No congressman, Republican, Democrat should say anything. That is as bad a quote as there's been by any side, okay? So there's no excuse for it. Now, yesterday we criticized the Tea Party for the Tea Party Express is now sending out a fundraising letter saying, oh, can you believe how people are politicizing this? It's all the liberals who did it. Now give us money. Give us money because of this Arizona shooting. I'm disappointed today to find out that Bernie Sanders is also doing a fundraising letter and mentioning the Arizona shootings. In my opinion, if you read both letters, the Tea Party letter is much more outrageous in how they politicize it, but it doesn't matter. Sanders should not, and I really respect Sanders, but he should not be doing fundraising that even mentions the Arizona shootings, in my opinion. That's no good. And then, of course, there is Democratic Harry Mitchell. He was running for office against J.D. Hayworth. And J.D. Hayworth eventually then ran against John McCain recently in 2010 in the primaries. But at the time, here's the ad that he ran of Hayworth. Clip number 16.
Washington Times reports Hayworth's a focus of the Justice Department investigation.
I'm Harry Mitchell, and I approve this message.
You shouldn't have approved that message, Harry Mitchell. I know you're looking at it like, oh, he's the focus of the investigation, but that looks like a gun sight. Come on, but that's what I'm talking about. We have to be more careful about that because a reasonable person might see it and go, oh, maybe it's a photo lens, maybe it's that. But you have to remember there are unreasonable people out there, so they shouldn't have done that, right? Now, so does that mean we're even? Oh, by the way, and I should tell you, so that's some of the violent imagery. Let me give you one specific example of possible violent results, right? There's a guy who has been targeting Eric Cantor, and he's an absolute psycho. His name is Norman Laboon. He's 33 years old. He's been arrested, and he threatened Congressman Cantor, who's a Republican, and his family, right? Again, obviously he should be arrested, et cetera, right? So now, are we even, right? Now, come on. So I look at Malkin's website where these conservatives sent me. So these are the worst of the worst that I found, right? Then she has this long list of mugshots of people, and she's like, look at these people, these Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans. And half the charges, and I'm not kidding, half the charges are somebody threw a pie in Ann Coulter's face. In fact, there was 2 or 3 of them. Somebody got arrested for saying something lewd to Ann Coulter. I'm not kidding, okay? And Michelle Malkin is like, look at these psycho liberals. They said something mean to Ann Coulter. Not violent, lewd. Apparently he told her to do something or other, okay? And then you look down the list, and there's the one guy who we talked about on the show. He was yelling at some guy who had or this family who had a Dick Cheney, George Bush sticker, a bumper sticker on his car. We said, what are you doing, man? That's crazy, right? Don't do that. You scared the hell out of that family. But yelling. You go down the whole list. Not one shooting, not one act. You got pies and, another guy threw a shoe. You got pies and shoes on one side and rare occurrences that did happen of threats like against Congressman Cantor. On the other side, we showed you on Monday, dozens of shootings. You don't make me go through the list again. The guy who shot the liberal church in Tennessee, the guy who shot the abortion provider, the Loeffner, you got the guy who flew the plane into the building, and it goes on and on. The sovereign citizens guys who shot the cops, the guy in Pittsburgh who shot the cops coming for my guns, they told me that the government is the bad guys. The guy in Florida who shot the cops, same thing, over and over and over again. Now, so is it both-sided? No. Look, there are some instances on the Democratic side, and I'm telling you what they are. I just showed them to you. But the other side is overwhelming. If you call that even, the problem isn't politics. Oh, hey, you know what? Democrats get as much blame as the Republicans. The problem is the truth. Because the Democrats are not creating an environment where you have systematically people committing violence over and over and over again. They're not. That's not the problem. If you focus the problem on that, you're misdirecting your energy, right? And you're not addressing the real problem. On the other side, people are saying, grab your guns and go do this, and people grab their guns and they go do it, and they do the shootings and they kill people, right? The guy at the Tides, going to the Tides Foundation, huge shootout with the cops. He was going to massacre those people at the Tides Foundation. See, there's a difference there. We got to stop that. Doesn't mean, by the way, don't get me wrong, final word on this. It doesn't mean that you don't condemn the Democrats for it. It doesn't mean that the Democrats shouldn't be careful. They should be extra careful to never go down this road. This is what the road leads to. But to say that it's, that it's the same thing, or, hey, since some Democrats have said wrong things before, done wrong things before, we should ignore the issue. That we should say, oh, well, you see, it's not political, it's both-sided, and let's just get beyond it and not be concerned about this environment of vitriol and hatred and anger that's created. Well, I think that's unacceptable. So, well, now you know it, you see both sides. And by the way, as always, do your own research, look at it, you be the judge if you think the Democratic or the liberal things that were done are as bad as the shootings on the right-wing side and should be condemned and focused on as much. You make that call on your own. Young Turks, new sponsor, Squarespace. Go.